Scrabby Peep, Suzanna here today to share with you this layout that I created using the July cherry box. So a couple of days ago I shared with you the unboxing of this particular scrapbook supply goodies. We'll call it a kit, and you could see that it is a mix of the Color Study and Sweet Rush collections from Vicki Boutin. So I am using this page as my, when I flip it over, there we go, that pattern paper with all of the squares, the variegated squares, as my inspiration for my page. And so what I'm doing here is I'm cutting out the frame, and just so I can save that for another time, but I want all of these squares. And I don't want them to be linear as they are here. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I am literally going to cut each and every square, not necessarily in squiggly lines, but not necessarily in straight lines either. And I'm going to make each of the squares slightly smaller, which is why you'll see that there's that excess that I'm going to cut off. I'm not sure at this point that I'm going to use all of the squares, but I am going to try and keep them in the order that they occur on the paper so that it is less of a puzzle to have to put back together at the end as I figure out how much room that I have. So I have skipped through you having to watch me literally cut a bazillion squares out, but there it is. That is the page deconstructed. And I know I want some white space on the page, so I suspect, so as I'm doing here, I'm going to take out some of the squares, but then I realize, well, I don't want it to literally be quite so geometrical. I want to have some staggering in the heights of these columns, and so I'm going to put back and add in some of the squares there. And I like the way that it's kind of like when you listen to music and you see the beats go up and down. I like that it kind of gives you that effect there. So I have two pictures of my daughter on her first birthday, not her first birthday, but her first of her 16th birthday party celebrations. It is not birthday month, but it pretty much, it was a drawn out affair, yes. And then you can see I have that blue strip, which is the branding strip. And so I'm going to use that at the bottom to just ground the page. So I am going to just loosely adhere all of those. And again, I am not going to make you watch me adhere every single strip down. And the plan is to just take some white thread and go to the sewing machine, as you can see there, and literally just stitch. And again, I'm not looking for that clean and simple look that I typically go with. I'm looking for a little bit more mixed media, a little bit more, let's go with distressed. And so I'm not tying off the threads either because I actually want the look of those loose threads. So I have cleaned up the page and I'm showing you on the right hand side there. My intent is with this stencil is I want to get that same look with the black polkas, and you will see where things go awry here. So this is a little bit of mixed media gone wrong, but I absolutely fix it. So I start out with distress ink, and I think that I'm going to sponge that through the stencil, but it doesn't end up looking dark enough, and so I go and get some black acrylic paint. This is super old, like memory makers from way back when, and I put way too much water. I think that is the problem, and I know for a fact that that is the problem here, is this is way too wet, and the stencil gets lifted up, and so because it's so wet, it all literally sinks. The other problem is also that these holes are a lot closer than what it appears on the paper, and so I should have dabbed a little less black ink, but it is what it is. I am not going to redo this. While I have another piece of the paper, I don't want to waste the paper. I want to make the most of this. So I have this really cool pattern paper, and I'm going to fussy cut out some flowers that I'm hoping I'm going to use to cover up some of the black. I do want to leave the black. I like the black. I just don't like the splotches that ended up, especially in that top yellow photo area right there. So I want to cover up some of that, but I don't want the pictures to be covering up all of that bright color either. So I have to find some balance between covering up just enough, but not all of it. So I have, as you can see, a few of the extra squares, and I thought, oh, maybe if I overlap the squares, that'll cover the black. But to me, that looked like it was very obvious that I was just trying to cover up the mud puddles, the paint puddles that were on the page. So I liked those flowers covering it up. Unfortunately, that pink, so I kind of have tone on tone, right? I have that orange flower over the orange squares, the pink at the pink squares, and the purple. So it follows that variegation down through the page. And so that works, but I still want to cover up a little bit more of the black. I like that the black provides contrast to all of the colors, and it really pops those brighter colors. So I have the flowers from the kit that I'm going to incorporate into this page. So I will warn you, there is going to be a fair amount of Suzanna shuffling going on here because I don't have a plan. This was not, when I set out to create the layout, the black blobs were not part of my plan. And so I have a lot of flying by the seat of my pants to do in the building of the rest of this layout. So I really like the way that tropical blue pattern pulls out the blue in my daughter's hair and the picture there. It also really pops her pink shirt, and it gives a little bit more contrast to the stark black that is in those photos there. So that is a go. And then, of course, because I framed that left photo, it then makes the photos disproportionate. So I like the frame here that is from the Sweet Rush embellishments. These are actually the journaling embellishments. And I want to pop that up. So I have to cut my foam, my never-ending roll of thermoweb foam, in half. Make sure you have clean scissors if you are cutting foam so that it doesn't stick. And you kind of have to go quick through it too. I have found that I only have 2 pair of scissors that work really well for this. No matter how much I clean the scissors, these Fiskars have been through hell and back again. They have been my go-to scrapbooking scissors for the longest time. I can't even tell you how long. I had a really sweet listener who heard me go on about my scissors and needing a backup pair who sent me a pair. So I actually do have a backup pair now, but I haven't had to use them, knock on wood. So I do have a backup pair. Anyway, so I've got my 3 flowers. I still want to cover up some of that black, and I want to have, I want to incorporate a little bit more of the kit into this, and so I'm going to mess around with all of that and figure this out. So you can see there's still that large blob of black, but the dark frame around that left-hand side photo really tames that and makes it not just stand out and pop out at you. So I'm going to use these flowers. I believe those are from the Color Study collection, and I'm going to incorporate them into the layout because it brings a little bit more white to it and some contrast. So these stickers in the sticker pack are paper, and I have the hardest time pulling paper stickers off. It doesn't matter whose they are, what brand they are. I just always fight with them. I think some of it might be my aging vision with the reading glasses that go up and down, up and down, up and down all day long. So there is a phrase that will get moved around a fair amount over the next few minutes. And I thought that it would be fun to incorporate these binder clips into the page again for a little bit more color. I'm trying to keep the palette so that all the yellow is around the yellow line, the oranges are around the orange line, but not having to stick completely to it too, because there does need to be a little bit of variety. So as you can see, like I said, we are playing the Suzanna shuffle. So here goes this noted down to the bottom of the page. So this is now position number 2, by the way. I like the white elements because again, it provides that contrast to that black that I've got. So this is a trick that I use quite a bit. It is a anti-static pouch from Ranger, I believe, and I use it and rub the back of of stickers to get the sticky off, because I don't have one of those little old talcum powder things from, gosh, I don't even remember who made the talcum powder things, but it releases a powder too, and so it de-sticks my stickers for me, which is perfect. So I'm going to rifle through all of these embellishments, but what I quickly realize is that they're all just way too big. The squares are probably 2 by 2, if not 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So I can't incorporate any of those into the page without it overpowering the look that I'm trying to get with those variegated squares there. But I do love that variegated, that pink to orange to yellow of that tab, and so I'm going to put that down at the bottom of the page. And I know it does break out of my color scheme, but it ties the yellow into the yellow at the top, and continues that diagonal line that I've got through the photos down to the bottom there. So providing a little bit more movement on the page, despite the fact that I do have a visual triangle with these flowers there. So you kind of have 2 lines of movement. So I'm messing around with these flowers, trying to figure out how I'm going to cover up that black and incorporate them into their same color palettes. And so that is what I end up going with. And then also with the cherry box, you are going to get these thicker stickers. So there's position number 3. Nope, don't like it there. And we go back to where it was originally, just slightly different. So I'm sorry, I cut myself off. So your titling options are these letters. They're actually phrases. And so this one happens to say happy birthday. So I am going to go with happy birthday as the title for this layout. And I will journal, and you'll see that in the close-ups coming up. So be sure to come back in a couple of days. I will also be back with another cherry on top video doing more pictures of this particular birthday. So enjoy the close-ups. Thanks for stopping in today. If you have any questions about the Cherry Box subscriptions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you see that you can fix some mixed media mistakes. It's totally doable, right? I'm totally pleased with the way this came out. Thanks for stopping in today. Come back again soon. Take care.